What's going on, family? It's your boy Pop. Welcome to another episode of Creative Conversations, where we have some really amazing people doing some really amazing things, and they're here to tell you about it. And today, we have a very amazing guest, and I'm really interested for you to get to know who she is, her story, as well as what it is that she does, because I believe you're going to really be interested in it. Because if you are interested in health, if you want to maintain your health, if you want to regain your health, right? This is the person that you definitely want to tap into. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello there.
Hi.
Gilda, thank you so very much for firstly agreeing to be on Creative Conversations. I'm really interested to get into your story and how you have gotten and transitioned to where you are now. And so I want to also make sure that I highlight the fact that you have I've been saying it over and over again, Gyrotonic.
That's correct, yeah.
Yes, studio, right? Right here in Switch 210, right in the heart of White Plains,
Yep.
right? So, Gilda, I like to start with what I like to call origin story, right? Because I believe that, people don't necessarily buy into businesses, so to speak, and certainly not logos and websites and things along those lines. They buy into people, right? And so I believe it's always someone's story that allows people to connect. And then once you have connected, on a human level, then that opens the door and opportunities and so many other things. So tell me a little bit about you, where you're from, got siblings, tell me all of that.
Well, I was born right here in Westchester and
Really?
raised. Yep. And I eventually ended up in New York City going to art school. I have a degree in fine arts.
Okay.
From there, I moved on to the computer industry because it wasn't that easy to make a living in arts. I have a degree in film and video. I don't know if I said that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the film industry is tough.
Yeah.
Especially it was as a woman in the 80s. So I had some opportunities to get into computers, and at that time, computers were kind of at the beginning of the personal computer.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of opportunity, and I guess I naturally figured out how to use them and how to do things with them. So just things happened, and I ended up working for a startup that was into what we called local area networking back then in the 80s.
Okay.
And I worked my way up in that company and became part of the management team. And I continued on as a consultant for many years in computer consulting.
Okay.
And that lasted for about 20 years. And then I got really burnt out. I guess it was the 90s, and I was looking for a change.
Yeah.
At that time, I injured my knee, and I had to have surgery.
Okay.
And then after my knee injury, I was looking for something different, some kind of different exercise, because I grew up dancing. I danced ballet for many, many years.
Okay.
I still do as a child.
I love
And
it.
I was very athletic and, I went to the gym and things like that. So I injured my knee, had surgery, and I was looking for something different to try to, rehab. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't run anymore, I couldn't dance anymore, things that I'd love to do. And I found Pilates.
Okay.
And so I started doing Pilates, and I got very into it, and then I just decided to make a career change and get out of computers because I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
And I was no longer living in the city. I moved to Dutchess County, New York, which
Wow.
is far away.
Yeah.
So I was really out of, the city and the city life. And so I just slowly, I started teaching Pilates. I just got good at it.
Yeah.
And then the place where I was teaching Pilates got a gyrotonic tower.
Oh.
And I tried that. And I was like, well, Pilates was okay. I always thought it was okay. But it just never really was for me.
Okay.
And then I tried the gyrotonic exercises on the tower, and I was like, now I know what I was missing.
Game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Game changer, total game changer. It's a very different movement system than Pilates. although people kind of compare them,
Yeah.
they're very different.
Okay.
Pilates is more linear, the equipment's different, and Gyrotonic is all circular and spiraling.
Yeah.
So it feels more like dancing for me.
Okay.
Since I was a dancer, the movements were
It was
much more
native to you, yeah.
yes, much more intrinsic. And I just decided to get my Gyrotonic certification, which took about 2 years.
Okay.
And I taught at that studio, and then I ended up moving back to Westchester, teaching in Westchester, and then eventually just bought some equipment and opened my own place, my own studio.
And here we are. You know, that is what's always fascinating is that a lot of the times, at least, you know, from conversations that I've had, and this is, I think, another reason why the origin story is so important, because it was the reason why you got here was because you said you injured your knee.
Exactly.
And you had to have surgery. And so, you know, you were already an active athletic person. However, you were also in a transition where you were just looking for something new.
That's right.
Right. And so you being able to kind of come across something, well, Pilates being the first avenue, which is, you know, kind of more so of a kind of popular, for the lack of a better term. But even in that, saying, this is still kind of cookie cutter, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of seemed like, it seems like to me from listening to you that it was another challenge that you were looking to kind of explore, right? And so you find out about, well, let me back up before I get too far ahead of myself. What is gyrotonic? Because as I was doing some research, I saw gyrotonic, I saw gyrokinesis. Am I right about that? Mm-hmm. So explain to me a little bit, and you started to kind of explain a little bit how it differs from Pilates and different movements and things like. And off camera, you were telling me how it's more based around the spine, and it's not as much static or holding movement. So could you explain to folks who may not necessarily know what gyrotonic is or what gyrokinesis is? Can you just kind of explain that a little bit?
Well, the Gyrotonic Method was started by a man named Julio Horvath. He's Romanian of Hungarian descent, and he started out doing swimming and gymnastics, and then got into dancing. And while he was with the, I think it was the National Ballet Company of, I think, Romania,
Really?
they were on tour in Italy, and he defected.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he was in Italy for a little while, and then he got asylum here in the United States. So he came to New York City.
Okay.
And he danced with a company, I forgot which one, in the U.S.
Okay.
And he injured himself, and his dance career was over.
Wow.
So he got into yoga. You were asking about yoga. He got very heavily into yoga. And then he started feeling these, for lack of a better term, vibrations or feelings, energetic feelings from his yoga practice, and he wanted to explore those more deeply. So he moved to St. Thomas and built a hut where he lived for 6 or 7 years. Really exploring these feelings, these energetic feelings through yoga and his own experimentations, and ended up coming back to New York City and teaching something he called yoga for dancers. And dancers were coming to him to learn this because it was new, it was different, it was changing the way they were dancing.
Yeah.
And then other people started coming, and he renamed it to the Gyrokinesis Method. Right.
Okay.
And so, it kept growing, and then he got an inspiration by seeing some bar stools on the street in New York City.
Okay.
Because when he was in St. Thomas, he would do motions in the sand, and it gave him some resistance, but allowed him to move in these patterns. And he's like, I could take those bar stools and make something out of them that would go around, kind of to give that feeling. Anyway, long story short, that's how the equipment started being built. Yeah.
Wow.
And that became the Gyrotonic Method. So Gyrokinesis Method is non-equipment based. It's mat based, more
Okay.
like a yoga experience.
Okay.
You can do it anywhere at home or, in a studio. The gyrotonic method is all based on the equipment, but all the movements we do in the gyrotonic method are based on the gyrokinesis method.
Ah,
Right. So,
got
yeah.
you. Wow. Okay. That.
They're very similar but different because there's equipment. And the equipment was designed to help assist the body to find these movements and to expand into the movements. Another term for the gyrotonic method is the gyrotonic expansion system.
Okay.
Expansion meaning you expand your body into space beyond your actual body, and your energy is expanding also out into the world. So
Interesting.
you know how everything can feel very small and kind of internal, and there is a very internal aspect of this, but we take those internal feelings and experiences and expand them out into the world.
Got you. Wow. Okay.
But
Oh.
it is also exercise.
Yeah.
I'm getting more into the energetic part of
Yes,
it because there is
yeah.
a very energetic part of both the gyrokinesis method and gyrotonic method. Because Giulio started with the energetic principles.
Yeah.
And then he expanded them out into the actual body experience.
That makes
so
sense.
it really starts from an internal place.
Yeah.
And then expands out into your body and then into the world. So it's a very robust,
Yeah.
rich system. Like I said, I've danced, I have done a little yoga, I did Pilates, I've jogged, all kinds of sports and
Yeah.
such. But I've never experienced a system that's this comprehensive, that gives me so much, and other people, I've never found that in another system.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So-
yeah,
And that's where you fell in love with it.
that's right.
It's I love the fact that what you're saying as far as the expansion of it. I mean, it just sounds like it allows you to be able to go places that maybe naturally you wouldn't, or even conceive that you would
That's
be able
very
to
true.
go.
And that's what I do also as an instructor, because people come in, everyone's stiff here or stuck there,
Yeah.
whether it's in their mind or their body or both. It could be that they're holding their breath and their shoulders are up, or their hamstrings are tight, or their hips are tight, or they have a backache, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I try to guide them both with verbal cues, with visual cues, and with hands-on to where their body can go.
Wow.
So I'm kind of like a guide that helps people, move in ways that they might not be able to, and feel things
Yeah.
that they might not normally feel.
I love that. I love that. So let me because we talked about a little bit, which was fascinating to me, the expansive groups of people that you can actually that can benefit from this method, that can benefit from being able to have something that helps them to either maintain their health, to rehab, right? That kind of takes them, that's not necessarily traditional, so to speak. And so I have something personal that I'm going to share with you. So I'm 41 years old. I'll be 42 this year. And I love to go to the gym. I go to the gym maybe about 5 days a week. And I was feeling really good. I started back on this journey and it's been feeling good. And I said, you know what? I worked out when I was younger. And I was like, you know what? I'm back in this. Let me see what I can do. Right? So I found myself what they call hero lifting. So I did an exercise called a deadlift, right?
I know it.
And I think I might have put a little bit too much weight on. It felt good at the time. I didn't feel, after I was done, I was like, I feel a little bit in my back. But I was like, you know what, this will probably be gone by tomorrow. Now it was 205 pounds that I deadlifted. Okay.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, you should, most people could deadlift their weight.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot more than you probably
Yeah,
weigh.
yeah, that's it was. So like I said, it felt good. I thought my form was good.
Yeah, it's all about the form.
All about the form. So I go, and I didn't feel it too much, but then that evening, my daughter falls asleep in my bed, right? So I have to carry her to her bed. And I don't know how I picked her up or how I moved, but boy, I felt that thing immediately. Mm-hmm. So for someone like myself who is, maybe a little delusional when it comes to what I should be doing, right? Someone like me who is maybe an avid, an athlete or, into weight training, like how could the gyrokinesis method, how can that help me? So if I came into the studio, hey, look, I deadlifted too much. Maybe my form wasn't right now. I tweaked my back. What are some of the things that you would be able to do for me?
I mean, first I would say, depending on how bad it is, and like generally when I'm injured, I wait. If it's not too bad,
Yeah.
I just wait. Let's say I wait.
Same.
I wait a week,
Same.
maybe 10 days, maybe 2 weeks to see if it's going to get better.
Yeah.
On its own, because very often they aren't serious injuries; they're going to resolve themselves.
Yeah.
And then I would look into my form. Why did this happen? I would try to figure out how to not make that happen again. I would probably start with less weight. This is just for you, like, in your personal life. If it didn't get better, I would definitely suggest going to, an orthopedist
Okay.
and discussing what happened. They would examine you, and if they thought an MRI or an X-ray was necessary, they would, prescribe that.
Yeah.
Because if it's really acute, you kind of want to know what's wrong with it before you start doing things to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because based on what's really wrong, the exercises, I would give different exercises. For example, I have a person that's been coming for quite a while. She has some herniated discs in her back. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's when the disc material bulges out from between the vertebrae, and it can be so acute that it'll press on a nerve, for instance, the sciatic nerve, that causes leg pain and numbness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's pretty serious. It can get better without surgery. Sometimes it requires surgery. But anyway, long story short, she has this. And so I've been, depending on where she is with her pain level, I have to adjust the exercises I give her. My goal with her is to get her out of pain.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give any exercises that, increase the pain. So there's definitely elongation, because the idea is if you elongate your spine,
Okay.
the disc may go back into place, or enough that it will get you out of pain. Because if you think of two discs, they're pretty close together and they have that material in the middle. So if it bulges out, right, depending on how much bulges out, you kind of want to pull the vertebrae apart so that can go back in.
Slip back in.
Obviously, it's not going to be like I pull it apart, it's going back in.
Yeah.
This would be repeated exercises
yeah.
that would allow that to happen. Also, lifestyle changes, not just when you come to see me. I give you exercises that would focus on elongating the spine by making space in between the vertebrae so that disc could go back in, and giving you exercises to do at home to continue that and to speed up the process. If you come once a week, slim and none chance that that's going to happen. You know what I mean? So when people are in pain and they come, they tend to be a little bit more diligent about doing their homework.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Because I do give homework to everyone, but they generally don't do it. Life's busy in the way, of yourself, your own, well-being. So, so it would really depend on what the situation is, but what exercises I would give and what approach I would take. But because the gyrotonic expansion system is focused on the spine first, and the health of the spine, and the mobility of the spine, and the strength of the spine, all the exercises are really focused on that. So no matter what you're doing, if I move my arm like this or my leg like this, it's coming from my spine.
Yeah, see.
So I could just go like this with my arm, or I could do a gesture like that, which is much more coming from my spine. If you think about dance, for instance, and you watch, I don't know if you go to see dance, but
I'm actually, I like it, and my daughter is into it too now.
I mean, there's all kinds of dance. There's hip hop. There's whatever. But when you see a dancer move, generally speaking, I mean, it could just be a gesture with the hand. Maybe that's what the choreographer intended. But when they're really kinetically moving, if you're observing, it's really coming from a center, their
Yes.
spine. And then the
Yes.
rest is following.
Yes.
And that's what I think makes it more dynamic and more beautiful. And that's also what's going to keep a dancer healthy,
Yeah.
you know, if they move from their spine and their spine is prepared and healthy and strong and flexible.
Yes.
So that's, and there's also other things, you know, placement, especially for dancers where their leg is in their hip socket, you know, where their shoulders are. There's
Yes.
a lot of placement things that Gyrotonic is very focused on form. You were talking about your deadlift.
Yeah.
And maybe you tucked your tailbone under when you did it, and you know, or maybe it was just too heavy. And
Yeah.
You didn't use your legs or your stomach enough, whatever it was. Same thing in Gyrotonic. We're very focused on form, and it's a method that it focuses on contrasts. So,
Okay.
for instance, if you took a towel and you held one end and you pulled it,
Yeah.
the towel would just kind of trail along if it was on the floor or through the air. If you hold both ends of a towel and you pull, the fibers of the towel, especially if you pull them equally
Yeah.
with your hands, are stretching or expanding.
Yes.
So we're always dealing in Gyrotonic with a contrast. So if something goes up, something else goes down. If something goes this way, it goes that way. So there's always this oppositions
Yeah.
that make it possible for your body to expand and your muscle fibers to actually stretch a little.
I love
We're also
it.
focusing on joint health.
Yeah.
So there's
That's big, too.
flexibility, which
Yeah.
is what I just described, the
Yeah.
muscles and fibers actually stretching. There's mobility, which is how, for instance, your wrist can go in a circle, or your shoulder moves in the socket,
Yeah.
or your leg moves in your hip socket. So there's mobility and there's flexibility, and we deal with both. Some people are
Mine is
tighter in their joints,
Yeah.
but flexible in their muscles.
Yeah.
Some people are really tight in their joints, but their muscle fibers are more flexible. So we're always trying to work with both of those things. You know, most people aren't too loose in their joints, but there are those people too,
Yeah.
especially dancers. So I work with them on keeping their, you know, their thigh in the hip socket
Yeah.
properly, because they could easily injure themselves by overdoing something or not having it placed properly. And for, you know, the layperson who's not a dancer, let's just say, you know, you have a desk job and
Yeah.
you're sitting like this and
All
looking at
day,
your
yup,
computer
for
or your
8
book or you're driving.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
neck ends up being like this, right?
Yes.
And then you come in and you have a neck ache. Then it's like, well, I can't even do this anymore. I don't, you know, I can't make my neck is permanent like this.
Yeah.
Which is an affliction, I'd say, for
Yeah.
much of the population.
Yeah.
So I work on trying to realign, especially the upper spine, but also the lower spine. Or you're sitting in your chair like this all day, and then you try to get up and you can't stand up straight.
Yeah.
So there's that. I work with people on that level all the time too.
This is fascinating. This is fascinating, Gilda, because unless you are in this world, right, and and clearly you're a wealth of knowledge, right, because of your experience, and you could tell that you love this.
I do.
And you study it. Simple things like the difference between mobility and flexibility. I always thought they were the same thing, right?
Sure.
So you actually just kind of dissecting those two ideas, and that right there is mind blowing to me, because I didn't know that they were different. Mm-hmm. Also, when you talked about the neck thing, I'm thinking about kids, right? On the cell phones
Absolutely.
all day. And I think I read an article where they were saying, they were saying that there's an increased, particularly amongst young people, they're slouching, but also the same thing with the neck, because they're constantly like this. So something as simple as that, right? That, parent might see, and like you said, someone on a desk job 9 to 5, they wouldn't think that, they wouldn't take that in consideration. But you're saying that this method is a cure for those things. It solves that problem.
It's making people.
If you do your homework.
It can help you, first of all, become aware of what you're doing.
Yes.
And then if you practice it, there are people that it's just too, it's permanently like that, but you can prevent it from getting worse, and you can fix it somewhat,
Gotcha,
right? You may
gotcha.
not ever be,
That-
upright
yeah,
again, but yeah. Bringing awareness to things like that is the first step in changing things. You have to be aware of what you're doing to change anything. So
100%.
there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of focus on alignment and
like that.
positioning
Yeah.
within the movements.
Yeah.
And I did mention this in the beginning, but there are coordinated breathing patterns with every
Yes.
exercise.
Yes.
If you're holding your breath, it really prevents natural movement, and it's not helpful. So, and a lot of people hold their breath, especially when it's something difficult.
I do it. I'm
I think
guilty.
we're all
I'm
guilty
guilty.
of it.
I'm guilty. Yep. I'm guilty.
So bringing the breath into the movements, I know firsthand, I see people holding their breath, trying to do these beautiful circular, fluid movements, and
Yeah.
it's not. And then if I can get them to breathe, I breathe with them all the time.
Yeah.
I have great breathing because I'm always breathing with
yeah.
my clients.
Yeah. That's good. Yep. Yep.
Even if they're not, I
Yeah.
am. Because,
Yeah.
seriously, it helps them
Yeah.
if I am. My energy is helping them. They hear me.
Transferring,
They
to
also
them.
hear
Yep.
me.
Yep.
So it's an audio thing too.
Yeah.
So yes, the breath, the coordinating breathing with the exercises is extremely important. And
Yes.
also that creates cardiovascular health and
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So for instance, if for singers,
Yeah.
Gyrotonic Method and Gyrokinesis is absolutely fantastic.
Really?
Well, it's controlled breathing.
Gilda, that makes all the sense
Yeah.
in the world.
Or wind instrument players.
That makes all the
Yeah.
sense in the world.
Or let's just say, you're a runner.
Yeah.
Running technique is one thing for sure, but then like you want to increase your aerobic capacity so
Yeah.
that you can run faster perhaps.
Yeah.
This can help.
Wow. Another, now that you say that, it also helps women during pregnancy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Pre and postnatal.
Huh.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, the prenatal, you want to make sure that your body is prepared
Yeah.
to, carry a child.
Yes.
So building up your strength, your internal strength, is very important. And that is done with specific exercises that are part of the system. They're not specific to pre and postnatal, but we focus more on those.
Got you. Okay.
And prenatal women can come, depending on how their pregnancy goes, but if they're having a normal pregnancy that's going well,
Yeah.
they can do the Gyrotonic Method up till 8.5
Really?
months. Oh yeah, we modify. So for instance, they wouldn't be lying flat on their back.
Yeah.
They would be propped up and doing leg exercises. We make the exercises smaller. Because when a woman is pregnant, the ligaments start stretching and
Yeah.
the elasticity in the body becomes more lax.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful not to. They can do bigger movements a lot of times, but you don't want to do that because they can injure themselves because their bodies are so open.
Yeah.
Getting ready to birth this.
Yeah. It's
child.
human. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, very beneficial because it keeps their internal, strength up. But also there are exercises, specific exercises to do that for their, internal organs.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
For our internal organs. In relation to birthing that we would do up till they are no longer
Ready.
able to. And then afterwards, it's the same thing. Since their bodies are all open and lax, they start back moving small, in small ways, more building strength back
Yeah.
because their bodies are so open.
Yeah.
A lot of women get, I forgot what it's called, but there's the abdomen can split.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
And these muscles gets open and they get a big canal here,
Oh,
which really doesn't, in some women never goes back.
really?
Yeah. So
Whoa.
surgery is an option, but a lot of women don't opt for that. So,
Yeah.
so just trying to use muscular methods that are part of gyrotonic system in any way
Yeah.
to
kinda tighten it.
build those muscles back
Wow.
to, so that they have, that this isn't just splayed open.
Yeah.
And also their, internal strength as well.
That is okay. So pregnant women, 9-to-5 workers, athletes, dancers, singers, you name it. Everybody.
I forgot a very big population.
Talk to me.
Seniors.
Seniors. Oh, absolutely.
Some people just want to be able to get up and down off on the floor to play with grandkids. Some people just
Yeah.
are like, look, I'm 75. I still want to be able to get down on the floor.
Yeah.
Or I'm 80 and, I still want to travel. So I want my balance. I want to be
Yeah.
able to walk properly. I want to be confident. Or, my shoulder hurts and it's really stiff and I want to be able to put on my coat. Or, a balance is a really big thing with
Yeah.
seniors,
Yes.
maintaining
Yep.
balance. So we work a lot on balance, but also all the things I just said. So I worked with a lot of seniors. Yeah.
Wow.
I think also when you reach that point in your life, you're no longer jogging, you're no longer
Yeah.
going to the gym lifting like you, or going
Yeah.
to CrossFit, or, so the things that you're doing physically are kind of shrinking.
Yes.
So a lot of seniors are looking for something that they can do that's safe, that feels good, and that can maintain strength, mobility, and balance.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. That is awesome. I cannot forget about our seniors.
Mm-hmm.
No, that, and I can imagine too, just thought that popped in my head. I can imagine particularly at that age and knowing, like you said, you can't do as much. And I can only imagine what that does to one's self-esteem, right? And so being able to come to you and you kind of work with them to maintain their balance where they're able to continue to do a lot of those things. So even if it is walking, or like you said, putting on their jacket, them being able to maintain their independence for as long as they possibly can, I can imagine what that does to their self-esteem, what that also does to their confidence, right? So that's amazing. That's amazing, Gilda. I like that. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot.
If they're really senior and let's say they can't stand anymore, gyrokinesis is largely performed sitting on a stool
Okay.
and on a mat on the floor. Some people can't get down on the floor anymore. So
Yeah.
for instance, at one point I taught gyrokinesis at a gym that they had a class just for seniors. And these
Okay.
seniors mostly couldn't get down on the floor anymore.
Yeah.
But they could sit on the stool and they could stand. Some of them needed to hold on to a bar or whatever,
Yeah.
something stable. But the class was mostly just taught on the stool, which they loved because, again, it's moving your spine and your arms and building strength and breathing and movements. They were stiff.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah.
moving a lot.
I would imagine, yeah.
Even beyond just a senior that's very active, gyrokinesis is a great method for people that are really elderly. Like when I'd go down and visit my parents in Florida when they were still alive, and they lived in a retirement community, so
Okay.
they had classes.
Yeah.
And one class was a Tai Chi class, and again,
Oh,
it
wow.
was
Okay.
taught
Yes,
mostly
yes.
on a stool or a chair. But when I went down, they would ask me to teach gyrokinesis,
Nice.
and people would come.
Yeah.
I would just do it because it was nice to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And my father at that point was in his 90s.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mother was in
Wow.
her 80s. Yeah.
And they were participating in the
They were,
class.
yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So this is for everybody. Basically.
Everybody.
This is for everybody.
It's so scalable. It can be for an elite athlete,
Yep.
which there are elite athletes doing it. I can't, no names are popping into my mind right now, but
Yeah.
basketball players, elite runners, tennis players, certainly principal ballet dancers.
Yeah.
But there are other and musicians. I know Lady Gaga has done it.
Really?
She may still be doing it. Someone I know in the gyrotonic community was her personal gyrotonic.
Wow, will you look at that?
Went on tour with her. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, because Lady Gaga, she's an amazing singer. Well, I think she is, but she also is very physical. She dances and
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes all the sense. So this is what I appreciate about this conversation is that I had no idea. Like, I mean, and we're down the hall from each other. And I walk by the studio, and I'll peek in from every now and again. But I just, I thought yoga, I thought stretching. Like, I didn't, I never heard of this. So I appreciate this because you've opened my mind up to a whole nother realm within physical fitness. I'm something that, well, not just physical fitness, clearly, right? It's so layered, but me being introduced to this now just really piques my interest to see how it can apply to me and how I could actually use it, right? And so another thing that I've seen that you do is aerial art. Now, this, when I first of all, again, I didn't know. I'm learning today. I'm learning today. Explain to the folks what aerial art is, and then let's start there.
Well, aerial arts are a group of apparatus. So
Okay.
there's silks, there's hammock, there's rope, lyra, trapeze, and flying trapeze.
Flying trapeze is a part of aerial arts too.
Yes, but that's a real specialty. That's
Okay.
more real circus.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
The
Okay.
stationary trapeze is more part of aerial arts.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say, yeah.
Got you.
I may have missed some apparatus, but that's generally what it is. I only do silks.
Okay.
I do a little hammock. So to differentiate, a hammock is a piece of fabric, and it's imagine that you could actually lie in it.
Okay.
It's made out of a nylon, or are we out of time?
Yeah.
It's made out of a kind of a nylon tricot fabric, and it hangs in like a loop. So you
Okay,
can,
yes,
you
okay.
can do a lot of things
Gotcha.
with this loop.
Yeah.
Stand in it, hang upside down, climb up it, but all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Silks are the same material, but they have two tails.
Oh.
So it's not a joined loop. So you
Got
have
you.
these, you can imagine curtains, but they're not.
Yeah.
And they're long. So I don't know if you did this as a child in gym. I don't know if they do this anymore, but we used to climb up ropes in gym
Yes.
class.
Yeah. Yep.
right?
Yep. We
That's
did.
more the rope of the circus arts. But the silks you can climb up the silks. And you actually need
Yeah.
to climb up the silks because many of the skills that you do on the silks have to be done from height. Because let's say you're doing a somersault, a forward somersault, or all kinds of, you're
Yes.
doing tricks and
You can't. Yes.
going upside down. And
Yes.
yeah.
You don't want to hit your head on the floor. So,
No.
you got to get up. You got to get up
So
high.
you have to climb up them to be able to do
Interesting.
things. Yeah. So it's very empowering to me because it requires a lot of strength.
Yeah.
It does require some flexibility.
Okay.
But strength, core
Yeah.
strength,
Yeah.
grip strength,
Yes.
arm
I'm about-
strength.
Yeah.
And like I said, flexibility. But I also it's very challenging. I like a challenge.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
can
very
see.
challenging
Yeah.
for me, very empowering because there are consequences if things go awry. And
Yep.
I like being upside down. And
Oh,
I like
got you.
spinning. So
That's what checks your boxes.
Being upside down, makes a lot of people dizzy, especially if you have vertigo or things that
Yeah.
people can't. But I feel like it's a very healthy thing because the blood rushes to your brain, and
Yeah.
I like that feeling. So
Got
yeah,
you.
I just got into it for my own personal fun.
Yeah.
So it's more of a personal fun thing for me.
Got you.
But I do teach beginners.
I love it.
So I'm not an expert in it. I'm just, yeah. maybe an intermediate.
That's
level.
all right, but you do it. That is so. When I saw that, I said, "Oh no, I have to ask you about that. I have to ask you because I didn't know there was aerial art. Like I've seen it, so now you actually allowed me to put a name to the thing that I've seen before. So here's my last question for you, and you have been an absolute pleasure.
Oh,
By the
thank
way,
you.
I appreciate you. I really appreciate you.
I've enjoyed it very much.
Good. I'm glad.
I don't
I'm glad.
get to talk about what I do like this very often.
Well,
So.
I'm glad that you talked to me about it. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you talked to me about it. We're small businesses, right? And as a small business owner, things are not always blue skies and tulips and things along those lines. We have highs and lows, right? And so, what have you deployed and what have you kind of been able to tap into when your journey as an entrepreneur gets a little challenging? What are some of the things that you kind of tap into?
It's a good question. I think it's just mostly my belief in the system, and I've been doing it for about 15 years now.
Okay.
And it's more than just a business for me. In this business, you don't get into this business for money. You just don't.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not, if you want, maybe become a financial person or, into computers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So people that get into this business have a need or maybe a desire or a love for movement or exercise. And it's, so, you don't go into this thinking that you're going to be rich.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's something else that's drawing you to do something like this, whether it's teaching dance or, being a personal trainer or what have you. And I'd say the Gyrotonic method is particularly difficult because there's very little awareness about it.
Yeah.
And that's not, I wouldn't say that's intentional, but it's grown very organically from the time that Giulio came back from St. Thomas and started, these dancers started following him. It just organically grew and finally became an actual business. It's a very small business. He wants to keep the system as close to what he has envisioned and built and created as possible.
Yeah.
We're all individuals. We all teach differently. But we sign an agreement saying that we're going to teach the principles that he's laid out. Now, it's not, you must do this by the book. But
Yeah.
I do follow the principles within my own creative way of, bringing them to people.
100%.
So there's no corporate advertising. There's every business, every person that is teaches the Gyrotonic method does their own marketing, does their own PR.
Yeah.
Opens their own studio.
Yeah.
Pays for everything themselves. The headquarters provides graphics and materials that you're free to use.
Yeah.
But it's up to each studio owner to
Really
create their own business.
put the pedal to the metal. Yeah.
So that's a hard part. But what keeps me going is just a belief in the method. I've been, like I said, I've been doing it for about 15 years now. And it's so, I don't know how I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like, it just keeps, even if I have a bad week or month COVID was, I had to actually close my studio for a year.
Okay.
I wasn't sure that I was ever going to open another studio, but I had a few machines in my house and I kept going.
Yeah.
So that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
You just keep going. Yeah. If you really believe in something, you find a way, and eventually things tend to work out one way or the other.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. Gilda, thank you so very much. Prince, thank you very much for being a part of this. And we truly appreciate you. So let the audience know where they can find your website, on social media, any of that good stuff, and you could just let us know. And also we'll make sure that we put all the information in the description as well so people can contact you.
Sure. So the name of my business is Gyrotonic White Plains. The physical address is 10 County Center Road. I'm in Suite 308. That's in White Plains, New York, 10607. My phone number is 914-522-5533. You can email info@gyrotonicwhiteplains.com. And that's how you get in touch with me. And I hope to see you in the studio soon. Thanks.
There it is. All right, so I'll do my outro. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Another phenomenal episode and a phenomenal conversation. I hope you learned something. And I learned so many things, but more so that this particular method is universal. So whatever you may be going through, right? If you're injured, if you want to maintain your health, if you're looking for something that is going to help you to kind of expand your physical fitness and your wellness, you need to check this out. And not only that, you need someone who is as knowledgeable in this as Gilda is, because that's how you're going to be able to get the results that I believe all of us deep down actually want. So do me a huge favor. Make sure that you let her know that you watched the episode, tap into her, and come visit the studio and get your health together. Thank you so very much for tapping in with us. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, so